Anthony, could you talk a little about the meeting that you attended?
It was at the National Media Market in Lexington. It was in September. Gary Handman at the University of California, Berkeley runs the media department, and Larry DeResa from California Newsreel had done a white paper on digital download and sort of the state of distribution, customers looking at it. And in a nutshell, it's a lot of frustration. I think customers are, there's no standardization of the form, of the way the content's getting to them. So it was a frustrating meeting because in the end, I didn't take a lot away from it. Yeah. And I wish there was more. There is a white, there on the website, you can look at it, the white paper. What else can I report from that meeting?
On the Fanlight website?
No, on the Media Market website.
Oh, on their website.
I actually have a copy of it if I can pass it around if people want to look at it. It's hard. The transition. A lot of the old school filmmakers. They were sort of talking about the transition from 16 millimeter to DVD and sort of recreating that atmosphere right now, and that's what's going on. So, from a lot of distributors' point of view, they're just sort of. It was a wait and see. They're not willing to take the risk for the digital download, giving it away for free. So, but it's exciting to hear that it's working for you guys.
Yeah. I think it's a big mistake, and I've been on panels with my colleagues and Bullfrog Films and Filmmakers Library, and where there is this anxiety and fear and protectionist, I would call it, approach. And I think what's going to happen is they're going to be left in the dust. And you have to take risks. You know, you can't think that you're not going to go into it until you figured out all the ins and outs and all the answers. Because part of it is experimenting, seeing what works. If it doesn't work, you stop doing it. You know, I mean, it seems simple to me. And
I hate to make draw too many historical parallels, but if you look at the early days of television, I mean, most of the producers of film, the big producers of film, sort of sat on the sidelines and said, "Oh, there isn't enough of a business here.
Yeah,
television can't pay enough to run our movies." And then you had a few people like Walt Disney saying, you know, what could I produce for this new channel, you know, and how can you make money promoting your films through it? And you know, I mean, how much did the studios lose in those 5 or 10 years of saying, no, we're not going to sell our movies to television because it's too small?
Well, one question that comes up a lot with my filmmakers is the rights issue. They haven't necessarily negotiated the rights to distribute online, so they barely have enough money to make their film. So what do you do about that?
Well, that's a really good point. We have to. This isn't just about distribution and technology. It's about rethinking the whole intellectual property law perspective of the content we produce. I mean, you know, I've started including in my release forms that the material may be released under Creative Commons share-alike license because somebody might be okay with me using their interview, but would they be happy with somebody else repurposing that interview? And to be upfront that not only are you giving me the right to do this, but I want to be crystal clear, even though most releases are written that give you the right to do that, but to be crystal clear from a human social relationship perspective, that this might be repurposed and recut mercilessly by somebody else who I have no control over. It's not just that I'm giving them somebody else the rights to the film, but they can recut.
You're right, you have control over that. I'm talking about third party. I'm talking about...
Right. No, I'm just saying that as an example, but we have to start thinking about
that's a great
licenses more
example
broadly.
when you can have that control. But filmmakers are paying so much now just for stock footage rights to factor in online distribution rights also is just putting them over the top.
Oh, it's a huge issue.
Yes, and there's so much up in the air too that a lot of people that own it, they don't really want to give it away as far as, you know, they can't really put a definition around how to allow this, you know, like the back end sound and stuff like that, how to allow it to be distributed online. Because they're afraid that okay, if we give it to them and it goes out there, somebody else is just gonna pull it down.
Right.
And there you go. So the whole online thing is scary to a lot of distributors for that.
The
as well.
rights, in terms of the rights and purchasing the rights, the customers are frustrated that they have to keep renewing a license. They think that that's a really foul way of playing. Because that's the idea of buying a DVD, it's theirs for the life of the DVD. But when you're buying a digital file, and you have to pay rights again in 3 years for that same file, it seems crazy to them. They don't understand that, so.
There's a tremendous amount of fear just to leverage off what you were saying. And, I was on the phone with a distributor, a real prestigious small company, well-known but very old school, and were afraid that if they put their content out there that it would get copied. So I was on the phone with them and I said, well, what's your most valuable title that you have right now? Are you in front of Google? And I said, type in that title followed by the word torrent.
Yeah.
And there was something like 20,000 hits on it. Pirate Bay, ISO Hunt, Sumo Torrent, you name it, it's already being distributed worldwide for free. So putting it online somewhere else is definitely not going to increase the exposure, because anyone in the world in front of a computer is a mouse click away from getting it anyway.